We just basically want to know how well will I get my money back? How much will I cash out? And how much will I get back in a year in terms of percentage, so that we can compare all investment options, apples to apples, on the same plane. So here we go. ROI is computed as income over capital times 100. Again, that's your cash in divided by your cash out times 100. Try to understand that as we go through the different scenarios in how we can make money in real estate. Okay, so simply, scenario number one is what a lot of people know about. It's called flipping. You buy it while the price is low and you sell it when the price is high after it's turned over. So I was able to convert it to British pounds. Okay, the client purchased a condominium for 70,000 British pounds. After 5 years, he sold it for 120,000. What is his return on investment? Answer: capital is 70,000. The income is basically the difference between the sell and buy price, 50,000. And you got yourself your ROI. You just plug and play. Income divided by capital, 50,000 divided by 70,000 times 100. You're looking at 71% in 5 years. Okay. Of course, this not take. If you really want to be more accurate, you want to subtract to your income all the closing fees, taxes, and stuff like that, which is kind of not so significant in this case. Okay, so for simplicity's sake of how to compute this, that's how you do it. Now let's talk about buying now and asking yourself, well, how much can I sell it in the future? That's a legit question, right? You buy now when you're thinking to yourself, well, okay, you say it's gonna go up, but how much really can I sell it in the future? So here in this scenario, the client plans to buy a condo in the Philippines for 70,000 pounds. According to Colliers International, an expert in real estate industries, not just in the Philippines, but in the entire world, even in the UK, I'm sure. Properties in the Philippines generally appreciate by 8%. In this case, at what price can the client sell the condo after 7 years? This is the answer. Cash out is 70,000 pounds. What's your income? It's basically projected as your purchase price, 70,000 times 8% for 1 year, and then you multiply that by 7 to project 7 years, you get 39,200 pounds. Then your capital plus your sell price will be 109,000 pounds. There. So here, this is a slide from Colliers International. And here you can see for yourself that they said, not me, they said, these experts said that Philippine apartment prices have risen by an average of 8% per year since 2007. That's like 13 years, am I right? Around 12, 13 years of data that averages out to around 8%. So why do we need to know this figure? Guys, I don't care if it's SMDC you're looking to invest in or another developer. 8% should be your benchmark to say if your investment is good or bad. So logically, if it's performing better than 8%, then it's a good investment. If it's performing lower than 8%, then not so well. So that's why it's important to learn how to compute for ROI, because you want to be able to benchmark it with this figure. So let's compare. We talked about Bay Area. Now let's talk about Bay Area. How much is the capital appreciation in Bay Area? Again, I'll flash the slide and I'll do a little red circle here to highlight that text that says SMDC, 25% in Rojas Boulevards. This Rojas Boulevard, guys, is 5 minutes away from the epicenter. It's not even this epicenter. That's why some figures, I wouldn't be surprised if they say that Malaveja have been appreciating by around 34, 35%. Not surprised. Okay, this is Rojas. Let's just keep it conservative. 25%. Let's compare it again to the Philippine standard. 8%. You're comparing 8, normal, versus 25, not normal. This is extraordinary. This is Bay City, the future of Manila. Scenario number 3, you buy now and then you sell before turnover. A little tricky. You can sell condominiums before they turn over. What does turnover mean? Before they hand over the keys. Before the construction even finishes, you can sell it already. Yeah, they do that. Okay, so here, the client bought a condo for 70,000 pounds during the pre-selling stage. Okay, for this particular payment term, which is pretty common in SMDC, where you have a down payment of 15%, but it's spread in 50 months. You don't have to pay for it one time. Okay, and the unit will be ready for turnover once fully paid if he decides to sell the condo for 110 at the 48th month, right before he pays, or right before he has to get a bank loan for the 85%. Basically, he's not going to pay for the 85%. Gets? How much return on investment is he expected to make? Okay, answer. Capital is basically 10,500 is basically how much you shelled out, cash out, which is only 15%. Okay, so that's 10,000 pounds only. And your income is computed as 110, which is sell price minus the buy price of 70, obviously 40,000. Now that you have those two crucial components, you can now compute for return on investment going at 380% in 4 years, almost 4 times the money. Now, I'd like to note, remember, the cash out that you did is not the entire price of the condominium. For this strategy, your cash out or your capital is only 10,500. 10,500, only 15%. So that is why you get massive return on investment for this strategy. And I'm giving this as an option. There's 4 scenarios here. If this makes sense to you, if it feels right, then you go ahead, you can try this. Okay,
And
last.
RJ, no wonder our Chinese investors, despite the fact that they have cash on hand, would prefer to use this as to leverage and to increase their earning capacity even more.
Yes, that's correct. Because the trick about return on investment is you can increase it by getting a product or an investment vehicle that actually appreciates fast, or you can just lower the amount of capital. When you lower the amount of cash out, your return on investment gets higher in value. So that's the secret with SMDC. Their payment terms is uniquely low. It allows you to buy or reserve a condominium with very minimal cash out, at least for the very front load of the entire term.
Renee, can I just step in a minute?
Yes.
For all those people listening in the UK who've got relatives, particularly youngsters who are struggling to get on the housing market, because at the moment, from what I know, you need about a 20% deposit before you can get a mortgage to buy a property, and you don't have these facilities to buy pre-construction. So for those who are trying to save 20% of the property value in the UK, and we know it's average 256,000, this is a great way to invest. If you're investing £10,000 over 3.5 to 4 years, and you get a return of profit of 30,000, that's your 20% there. There's your 20% down payment to buy a property back in the UK where you're residing. So it's another way to think about how can I ever save 20% to get myself on the property ladder back in the UK, which is a big problem for youngsters particularly.
That's true. That's true. And you know what, guys? For certain projects of SMDC, the minimum down payment goes as low as 12%. Even for gold, I think 12% is the minimum. So it gives a lot of opportunities to make money. Okay, the last one is the common one where you buy a property and then you have it rented out, whether it be long term or short term. This one is long term. So you have a 1-year contract. Say a client bought a condo for 70,000 again and decides to lease it out for £600 per month. How much is the return on investment? Rental income yield. Answer: 70,000 capital, income is 600 times 12, so you can get it at 1 year. Remember, we're always comparing with years per year. Return on investment is now, when you plug and play, is at 10%. So for example, you're kind of window shopping for a condominium to invest at, and say you come across developer X, doesn't have to be SMDC. And after you do the return on investment computation, you come up with 10% on rental income. Then you ask yourself, hey, is this good or bad? Well, you can compare it with the condominium rental yield in the UK. So that's one way of looking at it. And you can also compare it with the other developers in the Philippines. Or simply put, why don't you just compare it with the standard? What's the standard rate in the Philippines? Well, it's 6%. According to who, RJ? Your uncle? Manny Pacquiao? Who? It's according to Colliers International. Again, these guys, that's what they do. That's what they do for a living. They're a company that specializes in research studies, not just in the Philippines but all over the world. They said that in the Philippines, the rental yield is at 6% on the average. It's doing better than a lot of the Asian countries, as you see in my slide here, right?
Right, right.
That's just the norm. Now you compare that with Mall of Asia, with the example here, 10%. Then logic says, okay, this is a good investment because it's performing better than the normal of 6%. Gets you get it? Okay, so now let's compare it with our subject of today, Bay Area. 6% normal. Let's compare it with Mall of Asia. Boom. So this slide says this this talks about C residences, the first Bay Area condominium of SMDC that launched sometime 2008. So we're looking at data that stretches all the way 2008 until 2020. And they tracked the price every year for your convenience. So you don't have to do your research. And the summary is a whopping 24.8% yield. That's how much you can make out of rental income. You compare that again with the Philippines norm of 6%, guys, this is 4 times better than the normal of Philippine standard. So no wonder the Bay Area is booming. No wonder the top five